Hello, and welcome back to Montreal by Night. So, wait, I'm not really sitting properly. Let me double check the camera. It's probably not good anymore. Oh, maybe. Mm-hmm. It's alright. So, welcome back to Geography Part 3 or something like that. Let's go back to the East End. So, the East End, Boulevard Montreal. Second word, and I fuck it up. Oh, my brain is so weird. Boulevard Saint Laurent marks the rough border between the Anglophone West and the Francophone East. The neighborhoods and districts that lie beyond this dynamic boulevard are characteristically French to a certain extent, more European than areas of Montreal West and Westmount. At the same time, the East End is urban. A large percentage of Montreal's population, including a number of immigrants, live in the narrow confine of this part of the island. The neighborhoods of the East End are reminiscent of the 18th century Montreal, with quaint two and three stories homes that are spiraling rough iron staircase and hidden courtyard. The urban density of the area has led to an increase in crime. Many row houses shelter dark secret of incest and abuse. Um, so Saint Laurent is actually kind of um, the the limit where the city is divided in two for the addresses. So everything on the west side of Saint Laurent is going to be Sainte Catherine West, and everything on the east side is going to be Sainte Catherine East. Same for Sherbrooke, same for René Lévesque, blah blah blah. So it's not only a language separation, but it's also a geographical mapping address wise separation. Um, but then that is pretty much everywhere in Montreal. Um, there's some in on Papineau, and there's some in Westmount. It's kind of a bit everywhere. It's part of um, the North American style kind of um, style. Um, North American style. I'm not sure if I said style twice, but anyway, you got me. The Main. The Main, loosely bordered by Saint Laurent Boulevard and Saint Denis Street. This is the most vibrant district in Montreal. A large number of ethnic communities, including Eastern European, Jamaican, Jewish, Italian, Portuguese, and Greek, are nestled between the side streets of the Main. Each community effuses its ghettos with a unique flavor, but also with its particular prejudice and prejudices. These communities have always been bangs to the Sabbath. Their insular nature and the constant arrival of new migrants makes it difficult to detect foreign canines. While St. Catherine and its malls cater to mainstream styles, the Main, in particular Saint Laurent, appeal to the liberal and alternative. Many of Montreal's artists find inspiration in the cafes, bars, and bistros along the Main and call the place home. Leonard Cohen and painter Paul-Émile Bauduas, among other notable artists, began their career here. Yet Saint Laurent's openness is also its greatest weakness. Deviants and the desperate can also set their anger on the number of vices that can be found here. Drugs and prostitution are a major problem, as junkies and perverts roam the streets looking for a variety of fixes. The area is home to a number of homeless punks who look after each other and spend their days begging for money. These kids have fallen through society's cracks and are extremely narcissistic and violent. Few live to see their 20s. Wow. Montreal has influenced me so much, even in the way I think, even in the expression I use. I can't wait to go back next week. It's gonna be such a big change to Sydney, because Sydney is so different. It's like preppy, everything looks good. It's kind of shit. It's not really cute. It doesn't have a soul. It's really just trying to look good because it's such a newer country and city. But it fails to have, yeah, that vibe that makes a city alive. It's like talking about the nightlife. That's gonna be interesting to actually read through that, because I miss. Oh, I miss North American vibe. I love Sydney for the beach. I love the fact that it's kind of small, but also really widespread. But it's a really young mentality, not in a good way. It's like malleable young people being torn between conservative ideology of the parents and also the desperation to be like the US or the UK or whatever. And it's such a weird vibe now that I think of it. The nightlife of Montreal. The Maine comes to life at night. The countless bars and clubs that line St. Laurent cater to almost every state. And it's funny because at this stage of my life, turning 39 next month, I don't really feel like I miss the nightlife. Like, I've done it, I've seen it, and I'm not even crazy about it. Like, I've done whatever I could, I've done my fair share. I didn't spend all my nights in a club, but I guess, I don't know, maybe I've done a fair bit, because in France I was going out quite a few nights a week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, when I was like 20. And Montreal, I was working in a pub club for 6 months. But I don't know, like, I really, when I was working at that pub, I was I was reading about NLP, neuro linguistic programmation. So that was interesting. I don't remember much of it, but I remember having that book in my back pocket. And when I was working on a shift, when it was not super busy, on a, what was it? Tuesday, Wednesday night, I was reading that. And I need to go back into it, because, like, even if I read that book back in the days, 15 years ago, yeah, 15 years ago, what the fuck? I don't. I don't remember precisely the core concept. So that would be really interesting to actually go back into it. And I've kind of researched about it again lately because I'm aware that I would be interested to go back into it, but I haven't really dug into it so much. There's so much stuff to do between the game, between the research, between the marketing, between me trying to cater for my mental health while managing moving overseas again. It's a lot to manage at the same time. Anyway, um, the area has therefore become Montreal's premier Sabbath feeding ground. Several Kainites frequented. I had a couple of glasses of wine, so if my reading is gonna be even more messy. Several Kainites frequented. Oh, I can't even frequented. I can't even remember how you're supposed to say that. Frequented these clubs while still mortal, and the habit is hard to break even in death. Most clubs are open past the legal closing time, and few bouncers ever check IDs. Blood dolls, punks, rockers, new agers, and sadomasochists all patronize these clubs and try to forget the city around them. Yeah, you really try hard, huh? You've been living 10 years abroad and you're still obsessed with it. I don't know why, but Montreal, you are an abusive bitch. Okay, Devilles, 3607 Saint Laurent. A two-story club that attract the young and hip. The first floor consists of a plush, chill room that plays trance music. The upper level has become a hangout for members of the rave scene. Devilles, I'm not even sure that still exists, but I'll have to double check. Devilles is in many ways the place to be seen as well as the place to buy expensive designer drugs. Ooh, designer drugs! I didn't know it was a thing. My gosh. The Foof, 87 Sainte Catherine East. Sorry, Sainte Catherine Est. It's kind of French. So do you say Saint? Well, no, because Sainte Catherine. Yeah, maybe Sainte Catherine. Anyway, but with an E, that would be French. So Sainte Catherine East. Sainte Catherine East. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm just realizing that I have a character in my game called Catherine for Ekaterina otherwise, and I never did the link with the street. Whoa! Because in my game, it's kind of it's supposed to be Saint Catherine, but it's also I do a mix, like it's kind of a weird mix between um, Ontario Street and Sainte Catherine because like I can't have both. That would be too much of a big scene, and so you have the the venues. I guess it's Sainte Catherine, but it's so close to Sherbrooke that would be Ontario Street. It's Sainte Catherine where Ontario Street is. If that makes sense. Um, but then you have the Marché Saint-Jacques and you have le Musée du Fier-Monde and you have TVA, that building that I'm thinking of is actually on Maisonneuve. So it's kind of a weird mix of the three streets below Sherbrooke. Anyway, Fouf, formerly Foufoune Electric, Electric Butts, Well, electric but in French, foufoune means vagina. It's like a familiar word for vagina. So it's but in Quebecois, well, in English from the Quebecois meaning, but in French that would be more vagina. So